Welcome to the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney Abke, and I am your host. On the Soulish Podcast, we talk all about the soul journey, the ish of the soul. And I have had the privilege for 4 years sharing my soul journey with you, as well as bringing on guests who share their soul journey to encourage and inspire and uplift you. So it's been such an honor and privilege. I can't believe it's been 4 years. I keep saying that, gonna keep saying that probably because I pinch myself. Like it's been 4 years. Oh my gosh. Today's episode is going to be a good one. I want to talk about embracing your inner goddess and nurturing feminine energy for empowerment. I think this is a really important subject because in a world where we're kind of not necessarily allowed to embrace certain aspects, there can be a lot of things that I find, even in the spiritual community, things that I've heard people say, and I'm not going to mention names or anything because nobody needs that. But there's been things that have been said that I'm like, wait, like, I don't know if like that's really empowering, to say or to be against all of a sudden. And so embracing your inner goddess, like what does that look like? I think that can look like so many different expressions of the inner goddess, and that's the beautiful thing too. So I want to just preface this conversation that it's not gender related. This is a conversation, if you align, or want to connect with your inner goddess, it doesn't matter what or who you are. And it really is something of whatever it is that you align with that is divine, and whatever your divine expression is. So when I say inner goddess, it's not attached to a gender, it's just attached to your divinity and however that is expressed. And so for me, I do align more in the feminine expression of the divine as goddess. And so I thought it was really, really cool and just felt such purpose in this conversation of how do we nurture our feminine energy for empowerment. So a couple of things that I've been hearing, I was listening to an episode that was about kind of like really like erotic, like sexual expression and that kind of stuff. And in this podcast interview, the host said, how do you feel about the fact that you were, moving for the male gaze? What do you think about the male gaze? And, that it was just for the male gaze. It was like that kind of language was being said. And it's a very popular podcast, and love the podcast, love the hosts, all of that. Nothing there. But that comment, I was like, oh, that's interesting that it's said like that, because I don't think that the male gaze is a bad thing. Like, same thing as if someone were to say that, well, the female gaze, is like, okay. Sure, a man really appreciates when a woman appreciates him, I think it's like just a mutual appreciation thing. And so no judgment on this or the person speaking this, but it again like brought this up for me of like, is that an empowering thought or a disempowering thought? Because ultimately, if we're against something, we're for something, right? And I just realized, just even in that little comment, that there's resistance against something. Therefore, there's a belief in something. And I would, at least how I heard it and internalized it, was that the male gaze is bad and that I shouldn't just be doing things for the male gaze, and that my body should not just be appreciated by the male gaze, or whatever my expression is, whatever I'm embodying isn't just meant for the male gaze. And so I should make sure that I'm never in an environment where it's just about the male gaze. And if I ever see the male gaze gazing, that I should basically say, hey, not allowed, right? Not just for you, sir. Because then that makes me something to be used or utilized, or that basically cheapens my expression and my embodiment. It diminishes it, it belittles it, it dare I say shits on it, it makes it less valuable because it's just for something. So this made me go into an even more expansive conversation of In what other ways have I done this in my expression, in my, you know, inner goddess? In what other ways have I said, oh, if this is just for this, or just seen by this, or just known by this, or just heard by this, or, whatever, then it isn't enough, or it's less than, or it's not valuable enough, or it's not fully expressed, or it's not fully embodied. And it just really made me realize, like, there are so many ways that we can diminish ourselves in the belief that if something is just for something, then it makes this just for that, and therefore just this, right? Um, Instead of seeing the beauty of the fact that there is such a symmetry, there's such a inherent attraction and connection, um, exchange that happens between people, and it doesn't matter what gender orientation it's between, just people in general, nature in general. If we just look at the Schumann's resonance, the Earth's frequency, if we just look at that, we resonate with the Earth. We are we are impacted and influenced by the energy of the Earth, and the Earth is impacted by ours. And you can't separate the two. You can't diminish one or the other. And both serve a purpose. And I always find it interesting, and I was thinking about this too, because there's a scripture verse that says, "And I am surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses." And that used to just creep me the fuck out. As a kid, I was like, fuck. Like they all saw me do that thing. They all saw me sin. But I think it's so beautiful to think of the fact that there has always been a fascination with us being witnessed, whether being witnessed by ETs, being witnessed by God, it's him, herself, being witnessed by others, by being seen. And I think there's something so beautiful with that. And I was thinking of that too, of like, wow, just the thought of I am being watched, I am being seen, I am being gazed at. And when I am in my beauty and when I am empowered in my inner goddess, do I not want to express and be seen and be witnessed and be gazed at? Yeah, I want my beauty to be expressed in a way that softens the hardest heart and that emboldens uh, the softest heart to be strong. You know, I want my beauty to be a strength and a healing balm to anyone who witnesses it. And I've always wanted my energy to feel like that. When someone walks in the room and I'm there, I want them to look at me and just immediately feel that calmness and that anchor, that feeling of like, oh, thank God Whitney's here. Thank God she's here. Um, I've hated it when I've walked into a room and I see people grimace, or I see people roll their eyes, or I've seen people look away suddenly and whisper. That's not a good feeling. um, and it's always been my goal to have the opposite effect. And so it's interesting when we talk about, embracing our inner goddess and um, nurturing our feminine energy for empowerment. I think in an age where we're in a really interesting time where it's hard to express and it's hard to embody. And what does that look like? And it's hard not to judge it too, because we're kind of in this world of comparison. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have the internet, we have websites. And so it's really hard to not compare to what someone expressing their inner goddess looks like compared to ours. whether that be your physical form or just even how you feel within yourself and with your own energy. You can look at somebody and they look so happy and so fulfilled and so like alive and aligned and expressed, and you can go, well, god damn, like I don't feel like that. I don't wake up like that in the morning. I don't go to bed like that either. And and there can be a lot of comparison. And so some things that I've done to nurture my feminine energy and to nurture those parts of me that are authentic to me, authentic expressions, authentic ways of being. Um, I met with my homeopath just a couple days ago, and I'm on like a journey of detoxing from viruses, pathogens. I have loads of parasites apparently and heavy metals, and a lot of it's been accumulated over years of not understanding detoxing and or anything really related to that, and just trying to eat healthy but not realizing that there's a whole like method to detoxing, and heavy metals are really hard to get out of your body, out of your tissues. And so I'm on a really cool journey. But one thing she said, she has this machine that can um, read so many different parts of me. And one of the things she said was, ooh, what's coming up is emotionally, what's coming up on the machine is fear of the future. I was like, yes, very relevant. And she said, but that may be quite big and a lot. I can see there's a lot of fear around fear of the future, fear in general. But she said, what's even greater than that is joy. And she's like, it's really rare for me to actually have one of my clients come in and for joy to be even coming up at all. Most people have anger, resentment, fear. Like that's top three. Not a whole lot of people have joy come up. And she said, that's rare. I was like, well, yeah, I've always been a really happy baby. I was a happy kid. By default, I wake up happy. Like there's not a lot that gets me down. I'm kind of just always happy. There has to be something kind of real kerfuffly for me to not be happy. And she was like, well, that's like resilience, and so stay in that. Like, don't let anything take you out of joy. Um, and I was on a plant medicine journey a couple months back in December, I believe. And one of the things that they said in the journey as I was coming out of the journey, kind of coming down the mountain, so to speak, and they said, with anything that takes you away from the bliss of existence, like, is not worth it. Not worth it at all. So go frolic in fields, go swim in the river, go hang off of a tree branch, like go do something, anything. When you feel like you've lost that bliss of existence, remind yourself like you're alive. You're a person. You're a living soul inside and contained inside this body for this time period. Like this is your soul orgasm. Is this life? Is this experience right here? It's like, good God, I've never thought of it like that. They're like, anything that takes you out of the bliss of existence is not worth it. Not worth your energy, not worth your time. So I say all that to say that in nurturing for me joy, that's one of my feminine expressions, feminine energy, to just be exuding this joy that is soft and supple and like just nourishing and um warm and like morning spring summer sun on your face, like that is what I want to nourish and nurture. And so what are some ways that I do that? Just for an easy example, one of the ways that I connect in with that joy and keep that alive even when I'm having a really shit day, um I sometimes will coin something like, ah, this is the day of, Whitney not having a good day. Like this is a bad day. There are some days where I just, nothing is going right. Technology is not going right. Nothing is going right. And when that happens, a lot of times I take time to do something that uplifts me. For me, music is key. So I don't know if music's key for you, but it really shifts the mood for me. So I will, if I'm like really pissed, I will turn on a happy song and I'll just kind of like dance even if I'm like, this is shit, like I will start to just kind of like groove and move to like a good dance song and just sing to it and just like, yep, this is happening. This just happened. We're good. Like we're just gonna dance this moment out because movement is key. Movement is so key to shifting energy, to releasing energy. And so anything that isn't aligned with your default, like whatever your default setting is, if that's joy for you, if that's peace, if that's love for you, whatever that is in your feminine expression or your feminine energy, like whatever color that is for you, if you ever feel like that's being diminished or you're going into this plug and play, Tetris type of environment and energy of like, this block goes into this block at this time and then this next one drops in like this, and you come into more of a masculine state, which isn't bad, but a lot of times we can get stuck there and not in the flow. I will break myself out of a pattern or out of like, I'm doing this at the computer and I'm just like whizzing through everything. And I will specifically get up and move and flow because feminine energy flows, feminine energy moves, and we need it. Everyone needs feminine energy to move. So even if you're a masculine male, like cis male, and you feel like you're bogged down, your lower back is tight, right? Like you have no movement in your body. You feel like your brain is like, glitching and like the gears are stuck and you're not able to get through, through the thought or through the project or through whatever, like there's no solution happening, no solution coming. I really highly encourage you to dip into your feminine energy, and move. If that's a walk, then go take a walk. If that's turning on a song because you can't leave your computer necessarily, but you just need a moment, man, get up, move, and like just have a little moment of grooving, to some song that feels good. That is one way that I have nurtured my feminine energy and made sure that I don't get stuck in the pattern of of trying to shove the gears into place, because that never really works and a solution never really comes up. um you can just feel stuck and then that energy really like goes throughout your entire day and you never really break that cycle, and that just sucks. Another way that I nurture my feminine energy for empowerment and walking in an empowered state is I'm really conscious of what I am consuming. I've been on this kick, health kick for a long time, and it's been a really rough journey of figuring out what works for my body. I've been vegan, veg, I've done the carnivore diet, I've done a multitude of diets, keto, I've done pescatarian, Mediterranean diet. I've like done a bunch of different things to feel like what gives me more energy. And during this last couple 4 months, where I called it the season of the cave, um, I did a couple different water fasts, which were really great. And then I also did like a heavy detoxing, and which was also really great. But in none of it did I really kind of like figure out like or feel like I came through the physical pattern that I've been trying to break. And that's been really hard for me, so I'm like up at 6 a.m., sometimes 5:30, and I'm meditating, and then I'm going to the gym, and then hitting the sauna, and then coming home and showering, and then getting to work while I'm eating my breakfast, making sure the little guy has his breakfast. And that's been my routine for so long. And in the season that I was in of the cave season, I found myself really longing to just have a morning where I just get out on the trail and just walk in nature and not be at the gym, doing dumbbells, listening to Viking music and blasting, and barely being able to walk out because I've just punished the shit out of my body for being what it is. And I just realized, this is not working. Like this idea of health, this idea of what a workout even looks like for me is not working. And so I realized that not only do I need to be moving and in the flow, but I need to be moving in a way that is not punishing or running from something, but also that I'm not trying to, I guess, in a way, deflect. So it's like you can be running from something, but you can also be deflecting. And then you can also be disciplining yourself or punishing yourself in a way that's not healthy with movement. And I really realized that I was also doing that with food, and I was tailoring way back and not eating enough because I was just so afraid that anything I eat is just going to be stored anyway. And so a lot of the things I was eating, I just wasn't even enjoying. And so I've realized too, the things that I'm taking in, the TV shows I'm watching or movies I'm watching, the social media content I'm ingesting, the food I'm eating, the things I'm drinking, right? What I'm consuming and surrounding myself in, right? What I'm saturating myself in energetically, as well as like literally physically. I realized that that needs to come into alignment with my authentic expression and who I am in order for me to be supported and therefore empowered. Otherwise, I am actually diminishing, I'm undervaluing, and I'm not making it a priority for the container that I have. So the space that I have within, right? It could be literally this vessel, or it could be your home, it could be wherever you live or wherever you work. If you are not making that a safe container for your feminine energy to flow, it can't flow. It can't be nurtured. Like it's not happening, you know? So I realized, okay, I can no longer punish myself in the gym. I can no longer punish myself with food. I can no longer, or what I consume, and I can no longer consume content, news, or whatever. Some of my friends send me some of the shittiest stuff on Instagram, and I've literally just kind of been in this place where like I just don't even I don't even watch any of it. It's just stupid crap that it's like this is such a waste of my energy and space and concentration. It's a waste of my energy going into something that's just a stupid video. Even if it's just like making fun or being silly, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just realized like by people pleasing and needing to watch everything something someone shows me or sends to me, like you sent it to me, therefore I'm obligated to watch it or listen to it or read it. That's not the case. And I just realized like I am subservient and I am people pleasing and I'm not empowered. I'm not taking a powerful stance on what exactly I'm going to be spending my time and what I'm going to be consuming. So that's another way that you're almost kind of being both. Like this is where you balance this, is like your masculine energy is the container of your feminine energy, and that that really needs to be a safe place and a safe container in order for you to flow. And then there's also times where that is too small, and the place that you're at is too small. You've expanded, you're molting, and so you need to expand the container. I love, I know Bible thumper over here, sorry, but I love another Bible verse that's actually in the Old Testament, and it talks about lengthening your cords and stretching out your tent, in order to have more people come in, have more community, have more space to grow your family. And it's just kind of like a simple command that was kind of given. In other words, you're living too small. You're too diminished. It's time to lengthen your cords. It's time to pull the tent out. It's time to give yourself more space. And so that's another way too of like nurturing your feminine energy, is realizing like there's a time to kind of go in, like the season of the cave, go in and really stop outsourcing and kind of close in on yourself. And then there's a time to expand and to spread your wings, to spread your arms out, to be big, to be seen, to have the male gaze, to have the gaze of the universe, to have the gaze of the heavens, the stars, and the planets. And there's a time for that. right? For you to really express and really be seen and really put out, right? And there's also times for you to kind of come in. And it's really you understanding what season, being really connected in with your journey and with your life to know what season you're in and to honor that season, because everything in this life is an opportunity, yeah? And we have everything we need within us. So we don't need anything outside of ourselves to be who we are. We just are who we are. It's a matter of us expressing, a matter of us being in our authenticity, a matter of us being empowered and setting up the place for us to live an empowered life, an embodiment of who we are. And what I love is there's not one person that looks the same. You know, if we just talk about the female body, they want to put us into like, you're a pear shape, you're a square, you're an oval, you're round, you know, like they want to put us in like whatever shape, body shape we are. um Sorry, it doesn't work like that. There's an endless amount of shapes. And yes, some women are more pear shaped than heart shaped than oval shape than square shape. Like there are more shapes to a woman than that. And there are more shades to people than just five, right? And I love the gradient. I love the spectrum. I love the limitlessness of creation and embodiment, right? And that's one thing that I've just kind of realized is like, oh, I have a beautiful expression as Whitney. You know, my body is a beautiful expression of my soul. Wow. How cool that I came in this body with this face, with my toes, you know, with these hands. Like I came in looking like this. This is who I'm expressing as in this life. What an honor. You know, what an honor and a privilege to have this body. Even more reason for me to take care of it. Even more reason for me to have self acceptance. Even more reason for me to not judge every nook and cranny, every like little thing that I could say is wrong or needs to be fixed or needs to be hidden. Even more of a reason for me to love thyself and know thyself. Even more reason for me to go on a discovery of what does my specific body and genetics need? What does my body feel best at? What kind of workout lights me up, right? I realized, oh gosh, I need to be doing workouts, which I mean, to be fair, I really love working out. So there's not really a workout that I absolutely hate, minus the Stairmaster. But I just realized like there are some things that I do because I know the results that I'm going to get. And I know that if I keep doing that, that I'm going to get stronger, right? Which is fine. Nothing wrong. Again, not coming from a judgy place. But there are some things that light me up. And those are the things that I need to really enjoy and do more of. And I realized being out in nature, gosh, there's just nothing like it. Here in Colorado, it's springtime. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Minus the mosquitoes because it has not rained a ton yet. So whoa, those are those are a problem. But nature is just beautiful. Everything is blooming. The lilac bushes are just fantastic and just gorgeous, and they smell so good. There's a lot to be enjoyed. There's a lot to be lit up in. And so that's another thing. And I think that applies to just anyone. If you feel like you are diminished, like your light is not as strong, you know, do something that lights you up. And that will fill you up with so much joy that you'll be carried and you'll have a brightness to you, a glow that people will surely see and that you will totally feel. So, nurturing your feminine energy is protecting it. Nurturing your feminine energy is being deeply connected with it. So, in whatever ways you need to do that, it also is individual and uniquely expressed, however that is for you. And so, finding your unique expression is key. How I express my feminine energy and how I embody that and how I'm empowered in that is totally unique and is going to be different from you, and we also will share a lot of similarities. So I think there is a need to not judge and compare, and there is a need to really deeply connect and learn who you are and how you're expressed. And I think it's beautiful when people reflect that to us. Like, it was cool that a machine told me that by default I'm happy. Um, and that, because I know my history and I know how I am naturally happy. So that was real amazing confirmation. And so I hope for you in this journey, as you are embracing your inner goddess and your inner divine, whatever that looks like for you, that you are also um, discovering and allowing life and others to reflect back to you the beauty that you are, the unique gift that you are, and the uniqueness, the individuality within you that is being expressed. And even asking, you can even ask confidants, family, friends, partner, spouse, what it is that is unique about you, that you can kind of reflect on and meditate on and see, so this is what people are seeing. Yeah, that resonates. That feels in alignment with what I feel is my default setting. So let me really nurture that. Let me really focus in on that and cultivate that. Give that space and room in my life to flourish, and nourish it, because that's what life is about. That's what living this life, expressed and empowered and authentic and in alignment, is all about. So, hope that this episode was inspiring and encouraging to you and helped you in a way embody and embrace your inner goddess, and know how to nurture that feminine energy within you. Please like and subscribe and share and follow. I really love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.